to the Offer Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Michelle.
And I'm your host, Gina.
And we are so glad you are here with us today. And today is our day that we have our very first guest with us, Tracey. She is going to share, tell us your name and all that you're doing.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm Tracey Ray, the Executive Director of Safe Haven of Pender and Duplin counties. And I'm excited to be here and tell a little bit about Safe Haven and a little bit about who I am.
We are so excited you're here, Tracey. We told Tracey from the beginning that we wanted her to be our very first podcast guest.
That's right.
We actually have a picture together with your team from about a year ago, last October, right here in the podcast area. And so now it's coming to the time. And we are glad you're here with us today.
The difference a year makes, huh?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Well, we're excited to hear from Tracey the things that they are doing with Safe Haven. Yes. This is a very important month coming up. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we always do a partnership with Safe Haven. We have their QR code on our coffee sleeves for that month. And we share to get the word out to let people know all the fantastic things that you all are doing. Yes. So tell us a little bit about that, Tracey.
Okay. So as you just mentioned, Domestic Violence Awareness Month is October, and it's a big time for those of us who do the work of domestic violence intervention because it gives an opportunity for individuals to learn about Safe Haven or just about intervention services without coming into an office or coming to a program that could potentially put them in harm's way. So the partnership with Brown Dog is amazing because our communications director created these sleeves that go on the coffee cups that have our logo and our number on it. So how cool is that? Someone comes in, get a cup of coffee. They can leave. They have our information.
Absolutely.
They know how to contact us if maybe they're not in a harmful situation, but maybe someone is that they know.
Absolutely.
And they can just say, "Hey, we want to go for a cup of coffee," and it doesn't put them in any type of harm's way. So we're so incredibly thankful for that. We do see an increase of calls in October, especially in November, and then of course up for Christmas, just because that's a time when there are a lot of incidents happening. So October,
things get amplified.
They really do.
Yeah.
They really do because of the pressure of Christmas week. Christmas is my favorite holiday. We love it, but for some, it is a horrible time.
You're right.
A time of increased violence, a time of financial woes and situations. So our calls and our call volume definitely increases around that time. And we appreciate you all giving awareness to domestic violence. So when those pressures happen or people find themselves in that situation, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, it's so awesome to be able to just check the QR code and go directly to your website, get the information, because there's help out there for folks.
Yes.
And a lot of times when people are in a desperate situation, it seems sometimes they don't know where to reach out.
Yes.
And so Safe Haven is the place for Pender and Duplin counties.
And we're in a space that now there is a lot of outreach and a lot of awareness and a lot of resources. That hadn't always been the case. Right. And I'm talking about in not so long ago, that has not always been the case. So imagine we deal with a lot of family or generational violence. So where maybe grandmother was in an abusive situation, then mother. Well, for grandmother and mother, there may not have been that many resources or not so readily available. So a lot of times individuals don't know that we're here or how it works because they've not been told that. Like no one has shared that with them or mom or grandmother might have said, I just had to endure it. I didn't know where to go. And so we're undoing things while we're also creating new opportunities and new pathways. And no wrong door is kind of our motto here over the last few years.
So good.
So what is your main missional goal for what I, in my lack of knowledge, would understand is probably mostly women? You may help men. I don't know the answer to that, so you can answer that.
That's a wonderful question, and a lot of people have that question.
Sure.
So our mission is to serve victims and survivors of domestic violence, regardless of gender. So we do serve men on occasion. As you could imagine, there's a stigma with domestic violence. Period. So for men, that is even greater. So we get calls sometimes on the crisis line, not that often. I would say probably 1% to 2% of our clientele or the survivors we serve are men. Rarely do they come in the shelter, but we have had men come into the shelter. Their stay is generally shorter. And so it's different, but it's really sad in the fact that men also suffer from abuse and from violence, but they don't feel comfortable. And we're still growing in that area, comfortable to come and receive services because of the huge stigma behind that. But good question. I'm so glad you asked that. So individuals will know that we do serve men as well.
Right. That's good. And safety, obviously, is
safety.
A top
So going
priority.
back to our mission, what our mission is to provide shelter and services for victims and survivors and their children of domestic violence. So when we started, we were a shelter. Well, we started with the pager system 31 years ago now.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
So we celebrated our
wonderful.
30th year anniversary last year.
Is
amazing.
So yeah, God has been with the program.
No doubt.
People will tell us randomly, and this might be off script, but people would just randomly come up and say, I've been praying for Safe Haven. Safe Haven is on my prayer list. And we know that because we feel that thing. We have meetings from time to time and just trying to reimagine how we're going to do services and with all the budget cuts and grant cuts and those sorts of things. But God continues to prevail. This program continues to prevail because it's not about, while we have the most amazing team, I'm just going to be biased there.
You get to be.
Great. It's not about that. God has really kept and sustained the services because they're so needed for the individuals who are in harmful situations. And like you mentioned, that they know that there's a resource out there.
Absolutely.
And I mentioned before we started recording that we also provide services to individuals who may not have left the abusive situation yet.
Right.
There are tons of barriers for individuals to leave, and we get that. We understand that. And we
basically
serve them.
meet them where they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
prepare them until they're ready.
Right. Yeah.
Letting them maintain the understanding that they're the experts of themselves. And we're all about empowerment. We want to empower them to make the decision and not tell them what they have to do.
That's
Beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, folks may not know, Tracey is also our dear friend. We love her organization that she's the director of and her staff, Lori and the team, but we are very close friends with Tracey as well. And so Tracey, on the podcast, one of the very key elements of it is that we believe that's part of the ethic of the podcast is that everyone has a story. And so we want you to share a little bit about your story, your upbringing, your background, your journey, and what got you to this point, and why this matters to you and this work matters to you.
Sure.
Just jump off. We want the folks to get to know you.
Okay. I don't know where to start, but from the beginning. So I'll you guys just bring me along if I'm teetering too long. So I'll start in the middle. So I am also a survivor of what was called before teen dating violence. And now it's intimate partner violence. It's all under the same umbrella. And so this is back in 88-ish. I was in high school. There was no information about teen dating violence. And I grew up in a community or an area that unfortunately it was kind of commonplace for a family to have family violence, to be experiencing family violence. So, and I didn't know that. I guess I knew it, but I didn't know, if that makes sense, that not only is it wrong or this should not be happening, but then what to do with it. We talked about being aware and knowing where to go for help. Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know
of course.
what to do.
Really, how could you as a teenager? Too?
Right. In high school, we weren't
And
talking about that years and years ago. Yes. We don't
have the internet,
None of that. Oh my gosh, you're so right. None of that stuff existed. So I remember graduating, going off to college, then coming back from college, dealing still with that same abusive situation. I had a child as a result, or in that relationship. And I remember I had my own apartment and moved out, and I tried to go and get what we know now as a domestic violence protection order. So, but I went and asked for a restraining order, and I wasn't allowed to get the restraining order. And I remember the magistrate or whomever I spoke with said something that to the effect of I wasn't living with the person, so I wasn't cohabitating, which was against the law in North Carolina. The cohabitation is on the books, or was on the books. You guys don't quote me on that, but at that point, that absolutely was on the books, that it was against the law. And also because I wasn't married and we weren't cohabitating, I was floored.
Right.
I thought, so I don't deserve protection. Like I didn't know what to do with that. Again, navigating this without a resource like Safe Haven, and not knowing what to do with that. And so I know now, looking back, that God just dropped that seed. Like I knew, I was like, okay, there's something.
Like this is not right.
Yes.
It should not be the case that you can't get help.
Absolutely.
Right.
And not only that I knew it, but that will forge my path. That would create my path going forward. Like I'm supposed to be a part. I will be a part
of the solution,
of making sure that other young people don't go through that, because I was in my 20s at that point.
That's amazing.
And I didn't know what
significant, Tracey. That's
and I didn't realize it then, but I'm so thankful, right? That,
that's the journey. You look back and you realize along these marker moments.
Absolutely, that's the journey. And prior to that, so I dealt with molestation as a child that I didn't.
So sorry, Tracey.
Thank you for saying that.
You know, that is so rampant in society in general, and more. You know, there's more awareness of it now, but it is just a rampant problem. And so I'm just sorry that you had to go through that.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
No child should ever have to go through.
Absolutely. And we're on it when individuals come into the shelter. We're monitoring, looking for behaviors. Not that we're expecting that that's happening, but we're very vigilant to make sure that it's not happening.
Well, you have to be, and you have stats to back it up. You know, you have data, you have stats. You know that could be a real element. Unfortunately. And I was. So you want to get them help?
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Because that should never happen. And also to empower the parents that be vigilant of these things, because it could be happening. But more than anything, I remember sharing this with someone that I did an interview with, is that it wasn't that. Because I didn't say anything about it until I was in my 30s. I remember being in I went back to graduate school, and
which, you know, it's actually more common that it is a later time in life that you come to the awareness for yourself to be able to say, this was not right, that this happened to me.
You have a voice to it. Yes.
Exactly.
But look how long. And so in between all of that time, it also opens us up for other harmful behaviors, because we haven't dealt with that harmful behavior. Right. We just didn't know how. That's not victim blaming in any way. That's just not being aware of that. Sure. And so God gave me voice to share that in my 30s, and it's informed everything in my life. And so when I look back at that,
light on that, it gives you the capacity for healing to come, and wholeness, and you know, bringing those fragmented pieces back together.
And you know what was really huge is forgiveness of me as a child. I had to forgive I felt so guilty. I had to say, I had to let myself know
your inner child,
that was not my fault.
Right.
But I carried that. We're talking from 12-ish. I can't remember the exact age, until my 30s.
Wow.
Yes. And the abusive relationship happened in between that. So we do a lot of intervention as far as empowerment work. We had and we do it with our team, our staff as well, because we're aware of vicarious trauma and that sort of thing when we're dealing with a lot of trauma. And we had a healing circle that we participated in maybe 2 or 3 years ago at UNCW, because those things are so important, the trauma that we deal with. And so when I go back to that teen dating violence situation, I'd moved to Raleigh. God had got me out of that situation, thankfully. I was living in Raleigh. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And a friend called.
Single mom at this time?
Yeah, I'm a mom at that. I have he's probably 4-ish or something.
All right.
So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying. I had a great support system, my family. And I just wanted to, I was in school in Raleigh when I left because of the abusive situation. So I wanted to get back in that space. But I remember moving to Raleigh, and a friend called and said the domestic violence program in Burgaw is looking for someone to do their educational program in the schools.
Okay.
It was called Teen Dating Violence. There was a program, and I cannot even remember the official name of it. Safe Days. Safe
Safe
Days.
Days. That's
So I came back, and
so. What was the kind of
the
your-
program was, it was, if in my world, I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I needed.
Yes.
So it was to go back in the high schools, Pender County high schools, and I was in New Hanover at the time, but I mean, to go into high schools, I had to meet with every counselor in the Pender County high schools, go into the classroom and talk about awareness of what teen dating violence looked like.
Wow.
I learned so much because there was so many red flags that I had no idea when I was going through it that these existed. And I remember one day I was
Tracy,
coming
that's
out of a
amazing.
class. That's what I said. I was like, oh
incredible.
my gosh.
That's
It like took me
redemptive, you
back. It was redemptive.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Beautiful.
I remember the
Talk about
day-
empowering.
Oh my gosh, you would not believe it. Literally, one day I walked out of a classroom and the presentation went really well. The thing was, I would say, and I still feel this way when I'm talking to a group of individuals. It's almost like I can see her or him, like when the light goes on and you know they're empowered, they got it. And I don't know if it's just that it's for someone else or it's for them, but something clicked in that moment.
Right.
That's my
Beautiful.
why. That's my absolute why.
So good.
I love a why.
Yeah,
And
I was going to say
yeah.
she's always like, "What's the why?"
What's the
Right,
why?
right.
And
That keeps you moving. That keeps you
Absolutely.
forward moving and on the mission. Yes, absolutely. So all the little things in between, but those are the two giants that
So when you started in the school
were
system
in my life.
what was the time frame?
Okay, so it was 18 years ago. It was 18. That's when I came to Safe Haven. 18. It was right at 18 years ago.
Okay, so you have really been a part of building Safe Haven into what it is today, having had that role and seeing those light bulb moments of the kids that go or recognize, okay, something's not right.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is a red flag. This is something I need to reach out for help on.
Yes.
To being the director today. So what was that journey in this 18 years?
What was that journey? That was a journey. Because I thought I would do the education part. Like I love the teaching. I love empowerment group and that sort of thing. So the previous director, when I came in, he immediately said, at some point I'm going to retire. And I mean, that was like one of the first conversations we had, and that I would love to prepare you for that. Now that went right over my head. I'm thinking I will not be the executive director. I would be talking to people. I want to be one-on-one. Doing direct client services. That is my heart, my passion.
Yeah.
And also developing, like I'm really interested in the infrastructure. Like if we're going to do something, what's the foundation going to be strong for that? And I think that just kind of that is who I am. So I think that just showed up in the work that we were doing.
Yes.
And I really respected his leadership and how he led Safe Haven and cared about people.
Right.
And I hope that our team feels that
was
we
he
continue
the first
that.
director?
He was the first full-time director of Safe Haven. They had when they first started, there was a part-time director who just kind of got it launched, but Ted was the first full-time hands-on director.
Wow.
Yes. And then I came a few years after
Well, the
him.
longevity of leadership
Yes.
probably helps give those foundations and the building blocks to where you are today. So that's awesome.
And support. I'm telling you, we have an amazing team, and I'm not just saying that because they're going to see this
we
recording.
certainly understand.
But you know them. You know our team.
absolutely.
You've met many of them. We have an
They're
amazing
passionate
team.
about what they do,
They really
which
are.
matters, because that empathy and compassion, you can't formulate that on somebody. It is like you said, who they are.
innate.
It is.
Yes.
It
It
is
just
what
comes
they
out.
are.
It
and
oozes
who they-
out. Yeah.
It's part of their frame already. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So those places, Tracey, that you've walked and that you've experienced, you've overcome, even those places that amount of time from your childhood to that forgiveness of that child that you were. And I'm going to offer a word. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but the feeling of unworthy
Absolutely.
probably radiates there.
Yes.
What do you think, and you don't have to give me a specific number, so I'm not looking for that, but do you think that is a pattern with women that they have somehow been abused, molested, have had any kind of trauma in their childhood, that then don't see themselves or see themselves in a different frame of light.
Absolutely.
That then this is
They're susceptible.
Yeah, and whatever word that framework that
you're
put
vulnerable
there,
to
vulnerable.
it. Absolutely. And I'd say 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Our empowerment is largely focused on self-awareness,
Yes.
self-love, self-care, because when you've been victimized, when you've been harmed, you're not even thinking about that. You feel definitely unworthy is the perfect word, of unworthy of love, unworthy of protection. And then it grows into a space of that's never going to happen in my life. So you just set yourself apart from any type of desire of love or being cared for,
That's a good point.
being protected, like all the things that are beautiful to have, right? And that God wants us to have, and that we'll see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Like
That's
you
right.
don't even, you can't even fathom living in that space. And that's a lot. This is probably the best way to describe this. Our shelter is an emergency shelter, 60 days. Rarely, unless someone wants to leave or we have a harmful situation, but rarely does a person leave at that time. Our program extends as long as a person wants to be with us. We're on the journey with them, because in that space, they need to be reminded that somebody does care. You're not going to be put out and I don't mean put out of our shelter. We don't even use that term, but I mean put out of our lives, or we're not going to leave the journey because you make a mistake or because you're not perfect. Because guess what? That's where we all are. None of us are perfect. None of us are without making mistakes. So we just try to share that.
When they reach out to you, you are with them on the journey.
Absolutely. For years and years and years and years.
Wow.
Like we have, some of them are like family, right? We just know we're going to hear from, if we have it, like we literally would be like, has anyone heard from, whomever?
Right.
Because we know, we expect that, right?
Yes,
That's how we
that's
know
right.
that everything is, they're still here. They know we're still here.
Well, you're walking with them through such traumatic events, and so the imprint and the significance of what you do and your voice to them is important and valuable.
Yeah.
And so no wonder there's longevity.
And we want that.
relationship.
We want that because you think of years of trauma. It's 60 days or even a year. Right. That's not going to help someone heal and really believe that they're worthy of all the things. Like you if this is what you want, let's forge a path, toward getting that. Yeah.
And then do you guys sort of set up a treatment plan, if you will, for them, some kind of a plan ahead, get them hooked up with social services or with some other kind of protection means or something? If they don't have the means to go back to a safe location after that 60 days, you guys have a plan.
We do. I'm glad you said that. So we can talk about our transitional housing or our permanent supportive housing. And Michelle knows this was a long time coming.
Yes.
We were trying to get funding for permanent supportive housing. And we did now 3 years ago in Duplin County. Okay. We've been awarded that same grant for Pender County, which will launch in the next few months. So we're so excited about that. Yeah, no, that's right. We talked about that.
Oh,
and we'll
wonderful.
that's a direct HUD grant to Safe Haven.
I didn't know about the Duplin County, but I'm
so we've been able to do it here. The grant in Duplin County, our applicant agency is our coalition for North Carolina, but for Pender, we are the applicant agent, which is huge. That
now,
Safe
what does
Haven.
that mean?
That means that HUD, we are a direct recipient of HUD funding.
Wow.
And that's major. That's like
that is huge.
A DSS or something like that. If you think about that they're direct recipients of it.
That's
so
incredible.
It's major. It's a game changer
because you
for
actually
us.
have the relationship with the people who are in need.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
Yes. So we're certainly going to be looking for affordable housing, if that's even a thing these days, in Pender to fill those slots. And we should be launching in the next few months, and Lori will have us all over everywhere. So you all will know about that when we launch that. But we are excited about that. So that's a part of the plan when someone comes in. In fact, Lori is our communications director, but she also does financial management. And a part of that is because economic abuse is so prevalent in domestic violence relationships.
Because of the control piece.
Absolutely.
That they have nothing really in their name.
Yeah.
A lot of times, oftentimes.
Or everything was in their name and then he stops, or whomever stops paying for it or whatever. So they have like horrible credit and that sort of thing. So Lori offers that
That's incredible.
as a resource. But yes, we work with them with getting set up with just about anything. We don't provide a cookie cutter program. So when they come in, this is what you need.
Very holistic, Tracey.
It really, we try to be. We try to be. We are partnered starting last year, I think, was our relationship with Coastal Horizons. We have a co-located therapist. So we received a grant from Camber Foundation and to pay for a therapist. So we partner with them. To we have her. She works with us halftime and halftime with Coastal
locally as well.
They are, and she's actually on site. She's actually on site one day a week, and then she does empowerment group for us on Monday evenings.
That's wonderful.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, and that has been a very great support because individuals don't have to leave and go somewhere for the therapy. If they want it, they can have it in-house.
For the whole of the family as well.
Absolutely.
That unit as well. Those children have seen things that, you know,
have experienced things.
That's what I was, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yes.
Now, what would you say, and I don't pretend to know your socioeconomic status of those folks, and I don't need to. What would you say to someone who was on both ends of that spectrum, of the socioeconomic spectrum?
That's good. That's a good
because, you know, you may have someone that says, I literally can't even buy groceries for my baby. How can I even pretend to do this? And then you have this other who may come from an affluent situation and be like, I couldn't bring that kind of shame on it, but they're scared every day of their life. You have both of these scenarios. What do you say to, and I'm just going to say it for what it is in this situation. What do you say to those ladies?
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. That's good. I mean, that's a wonderful question. So if a person comes in, and we do have that, the individuals who come in and they don't have anything. They just come in with them and their children. Then we go to the grocery store and we purchase groceries for them, or we'll give them a card. Lori orders cards, the gas cards. We order the gas cards. We get gift cards. So whatever. Yeah. And then we have a pantry at our shelter. So they can get food out of there. They don't have to come with anything. Everything. And I should have led with all of our services are free, even the therapy. They don't ever pay for anything.
Because you're a nonprofit.
Right. Because we're a nonprofit.
And people can donate as well.
Absolutely.
To Safe Haven.
And that helps us to continue to do what we do. Because a lot of times, sometimes right now we have funding that we can get reimbursed for the gas cards, but there are times when we don't, but we still provide that because that's still a need. And then those needs don't go away. They don't. They do not go away. Yeah, regardless of funding or we have to do that. Those are basic needs. And then also our thrift store. We have two wonderful thrift stores in Hampstead, North Carolina, and they really are amazing. And anybody that we serve, any survivors, whether they're living in our shelter right now or not, they can get a voucher and go over to the thrift store and get what they need at no cost.
That's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah, and we're excited about that. That helps a lot. So they don't have to worry about that.
People can give donations to the thrift store?
Yes, please. We take clothing, housewares, just about anything. Big, and they can get their furniture there if we have what they need. So
I have been over there to the Haven Home,
okay,
in Hampstead, and it is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you. Yeah. We have volunteers and staff, and they really put a lot of pride and effort into the store. They really do, and we have great donors. Because that's where the merchandise comes from, right? So we get really good donations, so they can anything that someone needs, we will make that happen. And if we don't have it, we'll reach out and see how we can find that. We can make it happen. Do
you have specific fundraisers throughout the year that you do?
So we're growing in that area. Okay. We're really trying to grow that. We're looking to do better. Now we do have a fundraiser that's coming up on Tuesday, and that's our fashion show. And there's a really nice name to it that I absolutely can't remember, but It's going to be at Shaka Taco in Hampstead. They allow us. They actually donate their space. We don't have to pay for it, and I think we get a 10% proceeds or something like that from the food that they serve. And they model clothes coming from the thrift store. Our volunteers, some community members. I think, can I say who our guests? I think our mayor was a model last year.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So yes, and so we have community members. I think we've had a board member. I'm not sure, but it's a very fun event, and that's on next Tuesday. So that's a fundraiser that is at 5:00 next Tuesday, and that is a fun fundraiser.
Yeah,
we have a wonderful
Well, we
time.
hope that I'm sure that this episode will probably come out past that because of editing and all that. But we definitely want to know when the next one is, so we can let the folks know on the podcast.
Oh, great!
And anything that you're doing. I know that Brown Dog Coffee. We love to host y'all for the vigil, the walk-in vigil for the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we've been doing that for the last several years, launching from the coffee shop and then walking. I mean, the police force here takes care of getting everybody
Traffic
safely
control,
across
yes.
the crosswalks, and so you share a little bit in that. So I would say that if you want to go find out about the walk, which is going to be held in October, then check out Safe Haven's website.
Yes.
Tell the folks your website.
So our website is www.safehavenofpender.com.
Okay, Safe Haven of Pender.
So please go there. Follow us on social media. We do a great job of posting things and keeping it live and active. So please follow us out there. We would appreciate it. And I also want to say that you all support us with the Angel Tree as well, which is big.
Yes.
And we appreciate that. That is major. Lori's cheering that on.
Our customers and our just Brown Dog Coffee family, just everybody loves to participate with that.
Do.
And I mean, they bring amazing gifts.
Yes,
we've had a couple of bicycles. I mean, all kinds of stuff, like whatever's on the Angel for them to grab. And so we'll definitely be doing that again in November into December for the, so pick them out early, right?
Yes. So we appreciate you all for that, because we couldn't do it without the support. So thank you, and thanks to the community for that.
There's a lot of folks in the community that love to and want to, and that's why I think it's important to have these to share these things as much as possible to get the word out, because a lot of times people don't honestly know how can they help, what can they do. They feel almost like disempowered. This gives us an availability to empower them to participate and be a part. So thank you for letting us participate and be a part in a small way, but we love it so much, and we love you so much.
I love
your
you
team.
so. Thank you.
We're so thankful for your time with us today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for all that you do.
Question, Gina, for
I do want to answer the second part of your other question, because that's really important. Because a lot of times with individuals, they have the financial means, but they need to partner with someone who can help them get to safety, like maybe even getting a domestic violence protection order. So we have advocates that will go to court and help them do that, maybe helping them to relocate in a safe way. We do address confidentiality, and that's helping individuals change their address if they need to. So there are a lot of services that
awesome.
We offer and we can provide.
You don't think about.
Yeah, right. That having the financial resources won't necessarily get a person to that space. And you're afraid if someone is fleeing a domestic violence situation, they're afraid and they need someone to come alongside. And that's what we do.
Yeah. And again, going back to exactly what you said from the beginning, to make them feel safe.
Absolutely.
And so that's the beauty of the full circle of what Safe Haven does. It literally creates a safe haven. So that's such a beautiful offering that you have, your story. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you for allowing me to.
I know that that's not easy, and your walk hasn't been always freeing, but it is, right? Because when it's when you process out and you work out that forgiveness and forgive the offender, forgive yourself, forgive all the places, then you really are free. And then you get to be unleashed to look at the beauty that you create all around you in your world. It's such a lovely thing. Like
Yes, Tracey, you are a bright light.
You absolutely
well,
are.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You and your team.
That's
Absolutely. Well, that's true. That is true. But you radiate that so
thank you
lovely.
so
So thank
much.
you for that and giving people a safe, literally a safe place.
Well, thank you.
And one of the things that we love to say is, even for the podcast and for our community listening, that this is a safe and spacious place.
I love
You know,
that.
safe to share, to connect, and we feel that way about the coffee shop. Just that there are places for people to go and receive help, because there are helpers. It's like the quote about Mr. Rogers, where there's a traumatic event happens, but Mr. Rogers would always say, "Well, look for the helpers. Who are the helpers?"
Yes,
And
that's
you
good.
and your team at Safe Haven are all such helpers to this community and to our surrounding area, and to all of us. We love you so much, and we are thankful for you. Thank you for being on the podcast today, our
Thank
very
you.
first guest.
Yay.
We're so excited about that.
That's right.
And do
yep.
you have a quote for us, Gina?
I think you just
true.
gave
That
us
was
one,
good.
but
I did.
I
I'm
will say
sorry.
a beautiful takeaway is don't let your past, your circumstances define you either.
That's right.
Oh, I
Like
love that.
you
That's right.
let it propel you to the promise of your future, and
Beautiful.
that's what you did. Let it be your literal voice.
Yeah.
And so thank you
I
for
love that.
Thank
Because
you for that.
that is what happens. The voice tries to be stolen, but you have a voice, and
Yes.
we want that voice empowered and loud, and
That's right.
to offer the very thing that you have to offer. So thank you for offering your voice today,
Well,
Tracey.
thank you.
And thank you all for being with us on the podcast. And until next time, we'll see you down the road.